This video is about the last period of development that we're going to talk about in this class, which is adolescence, which we're defining here as between about 13 and 18 years old. Adolescence is the period of time from, like I said, 13 to 18. It's a time where teens are navigating puberty and reaching sexual maturity. These changes have big impacts on their sense of themselves, their peer and family relationships, and how much they're seen as adults and have adult responsibilities. Tasks during this coming-of-age period include learning to manage the strong feelings and intense experiences of the time period, and also developing a sense of oneself as one's identity is a more adult form. So getting a sense of who I am as an adult or who I'm going to be as an adult. To start off, we'll watch a short video about kids who are at the beginning of this period, so around 13 years old.
Who are your friends and what activities do you like to do together?
Play sports, basketball and football.
In the summer, go to the pool. Since I live on a farm, we have to do a lot of work with the animals and chores and everything.
My family does a lot of camping and fishing in the summer.
Yeah, mine too.
Me too. Every year we go to Fargo, North Dakota, and we just have family reunions and we just look around everything. It's really cool.
Going outside and playing basketball or going to the gym, playing like volleyball or dodgeball. Friends. So.
Friends, probably because it's just something different than always being with your family.
Like they keep all your secrets.
Alright, so that gives you a little sampling of a bunch of 13-year-olds who obviously live in the same area and know each other. So now we'll watch a video about a group of teens who are about 18 years old, 17 to 18, and are at the end of this adolescence period for the purposes of our class. And we'll watch them talk about some things that are important to them.
With friends or romantic partners.
My friends would be like the other half of me. I think they reflect me very much.
There's not much in our town. I mean, there's the school. I mean, that's what we'll be at the school or either at someone's house. I mean, there's just not too much to do.
Agreed. We get pretty creative in what we decide we want to do for the weekend.
I guess when you live in rural South Dakota, you can make up your own fun.
I have to. I have a boyfriend. I've been dating him for 2 years, which is kind of long, I guess. But that's a long time. We're more like best friends, I guess. I don't know.
I think a lot of people think the idea of having a relationship is what everybody wants, but in reality, to be friends with somebody, it's a lot better than to have the relationship or the title. And sometimes if you like somebody enough, you should just not have the title.
I agree. Because I know a lot of even my friendships have been ruined by dating or having a thing or a friend dating or something. So I think I like the friendship a lot better.
I don't know, I guess it works if you make it work, however.
Everybody's different.
Alright, so I think that gives you a nice sort of view into how these emerging adults are thinking about how things that they share, being from rural South Dakota, are similar, and how they're different in this experience of what it means to be an adult or what it means to be an emerging adult in their town. And you see similarities and differences in how they think about dating, how they think about friends, and starting to take roles about things like, well, I'm the sort of person who. Alright, so now let's move on to talking about some of the areas of development in adolescence. During adolescence, youth are able to think about and problem solve situations in more complicated and comprehensive ways, even than in the last sort of developmental period. Piaget says that this is because youth enter a period of cognitive development known as the formal operation stage, where they can think about systems and think systematically about all the different parts of problems. Theories about information processing explain adolescents' abilities in terms of their cognitive capacities, including continuing increases in working memory and executive functioning, which allows for more complex thinking. In terms of physical development, the big news in physical development during this period is puberty. Youth experience rapid changes in their bodies as primary and secondary sex characteristics develop. These changes vary widely in timing, and differences in timing of these developments have big social impacts. So when you start puberty or when different parts of puberty show up for you can really matter a lot in your development in terms of social experience. At the same time, youth are experiencing rapid brain growth in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain related to rational decision making. They're also experiencing changes in the limbic system, or the emotion centers of the brain, that lead to those parts being hyperactivated during this stage. In terms of social emotional development, during this time, youth are developing the ability to manage the big emotional changes that are happening during adolescence. They are working on their impulse control skills, but they are also sometimes go out seeking excitement, right? Peers can become even more central during this time, and those relationships become more important and more intense. Being in cliques that represent something about them or that they're very familiar or similar about plays a role in their sense of themselves, and teens during adolescence often talk about who their friends are as part of describing themselves. Teens often also embark on dating and sexual behavior during this period, which has big impacts on their sense of themselves and their relationships. Finally, a big focus of this period of development is identity development, with teens defining who they are and developing complex understandings of their identities and how their identities place them in the world. And here we've arrived at some big questions. As you can see, this is a period of big changes as youth develop into their physically adult bodies. They start deeper relationships outside of their families, and they develop a deeper sense of who they are and their place in the world. Here are a few big questions for you to keep in mind during your readings in class this week. First is, how might pubertal timing impact each area of development? You can think about cognitive development, about physical development, language, social, emotional. How will different contexts impact youth identity development? Thinking about figuring out who you are, what are the contexts that are going to impact that? And how would different contexts impact that differently? Third, how will a child's attachment and relationship history impact their close relationship with peers and romantic partners? And four, what are some areas of focus for clinicians working with adolescents? In what ways is therapy similar to that with adults? How might it be different? And what are some things to be looking for in this developmental stage when treating adolescents? So that's it. I hope that you look forward to or enjoy the readings this week, and we look forward to seeing you in class.